Welcome to Tryon Palace. Just beyond these gates behind me is a reproduction of the governor's palace before the American Revolution. This is quite an interesting place. There is an entrance charge, and you need a ticket to go beyond these gates. When you enter the grounds of Tryon Palace, you will find a Revolutionary War encampment on your left-hand side. We will return to this at the end of the video, so be sure to stick around for that. Now, Tryon Palace was built between 1767 and 1770 as the first permanent capital of North Carolina for Governor William Tryon. When you come to Tryon Palace, you're given a tour time to tour the palace. So let's go inside and see what we're going to see on the tour. Now, the tour of the palace starts in the hall. This hall was meant to impress visitors as they entered the palace. The next room on the palace tour is the drawing room. Your tour guide will have lots of great information about every one of these rooms you go through, but I found the next room the most interesting. This room is the room that the North Carolina legislature met in. It's downstairs from the governor's living quarters. Can you imagine one building that has all these things in it? Now, the governor would have had the place of honor in the center of the room, and behind him are pictures of the King and Queen of England. This is where he gets his power. This room is quite impressive, and I am marveled at the job they did on reconstructing this room. Well, let's go to the next room now. The next room you enter on the tour is between the legislature and the dining room. In this room, they have a card game on the table. This may have been what the gentleman would have done before or after dinner. This is the dining room of the palace, and as you can see, they've got the table set. This is the fireplace in the dining room. I was amazed at the quality of the workmanship around all the mantels in this house. After you see the dining room, this is the last room on the first floor you'll see. You can see they have a corner pantry with many dishes here. Then we took the stairs up to the second floor. This is the first bedroom we saw on the second floor. This would have been the governor's sleeping quarters. Can you imagine sleeping upstairs from the legislature? On the other side of the room in this bedroom, we have the governor's desk. This is where he may have done his work in his own private quarters. This bedroom, which is on the back side of the house, is quite unusual. If you notice, the bed seems to be in the wall here. This could make that sleeping arrangement rather hot in the summertime, and our tour guide pointed that out. This is the changing room for the governor's wife. Back then, a woman of her status would have taken quite a while to properly get dressed, and she would have had a servant assisting her to put on all these different articles of clothing. They have examples of this clothing set aside on the furniture in this room. This is the third bedroom that you will go through on your tour. Once again, they have fine pieces of furniture in these rooms. In this bedroom, they have this wonderful picture of ships. I'm just a big fan of ship pictures of this time period. The last bedroom on the second floor is the children's room. The governor did raise his children right here in the palace. The last stop on the tour is the cellar. You will come down the back staircase and enter the cellar through this door. In the center of the cellar, you have storage areas, and that looks like a lot of wine over there in one area. On one side of the cellar, they have the head maid's room. This is quite the fancy room for a servant, which tells you she had quite a status in this palace. On the other side of the cellar, they have the butler's room. Of course, his room isn't quite as fancy as the head maid's, but I imagine he had even more power than the head maid. You will find the kitchen to the palace to the left of the actual palace. And if you keep going around the courtyard, you'll find that on the right is the historic stables of the palace. One thing I found unusual is the governor's secretary's office is inside the building with the kitchen. Across the hall from the secretary's office is the actual kitchen of the palace. This is a wonderful place, and they had people there to explain how the kitchen worked. Behind the kitchen is the pantry, where they stored items that they would need in the kitchen. Then you enter the laundry of the palace. One unusual item in the laundry was this object made of lava stone that they would use to make chocolate. This was fascinating to hear about. Above the kitchen, there was the male servants' quarters. The next room was the cook's quarters. This was the highest ranking person who lived above the kitchen. This room was the servants' quarters for unmarried women servants. The last room above the kitchen was the loom room. Now let's go take a look at the stables. I would say that the horses here at the palace had it pretty good. These look like fairly fancy stables to me. Now let's look at all the gardens that are behind the palace. This is the birdhouse of the palace. This is a fascinating thing, and you should take a look at it when you come to the palace. I was really impressed with the formal gardens at the palace. They've done quite the job keeping these up. The boxwood in this area of the garden is quite formal, and it leads to another part of the garden, which we will go next. I really enjoyed all of the statues they have around this part of the garden. This is almost at the edge of the water behind the palace. This is the view of the back of the palace. This is quite a place. And if you turn around from here, you can see the river, and it's quite a view. I bet the governor enjoyed looking out his window and seeing the river behind him. Here I am in the courtyard behind the kitchen that leads into the garden with all the vegetables and fruit trees. And behind the kitchen, we have the smokehouse. Tasty. And as you look in this garden, notice they've got vines and fruit trees trained to grow on trellises like grapevines. Cool. Between the kitchen and the palace, we found another formal garden. This one was very nice. Now let's visit the outdoor militia camp on the palace grounds. Here is the officers' quarters. officers have it quite a bit better than the enlisted here. They also had a medical tent that you could learn about medicine during the Revolutionary War period. I hope you've enjoyed the visit to Tryon Palace. If you enjoyed this video, please watch one of these two videos here and also subscribe to my channel. Thank you, and see you next time.